Okay, at this stage we're going to show you guys the threading.
And the spool of thread, I like to leave the plastic bag around the spool of thread. Prevents the thread from dropping, bouncing all over the place. Through here. Through here. And then we go for your upper needle threading. You can see how it's threaded now. Now what we'll do is we'll just merely pull it out and put it through here. Go over these top two, excuse me, under here like this.
Let me see. Hold on.
And around.
Underneath the circle.
And then back over the top. Let me just move this up here a little bit. Let me get a tweezer.
Just move this light a little bit. It's too much glare.
There we go. Just like that. Come through the tunnel, around in between the tension discs, out like this here, and then across. Then you go in here, go under here, puts a little pressure on it, over here, I go under this pin. Let's do it again. Under the pin, over the roller, and under the other pin. Now whether you put it in the first group tension disc or the second, it really doesn't make any difference. Or you can even go in the middle. It's not a tension, it's merely a guide. Go like that, and then under this pin. Doesn't slip out that way.
Okay.
Will it work if you leave it on top of the pin? Yes, it will. It's merely a guide. But the best bet is under the pin.
Okay.
And then we come down right to our needle. And this old one out of here. And you come from the front through the back. Just that simple. And you leave a long tail. The tail will get picked up. 4, 5, 6 inch tail is fine. And that's it. As far as the needle is concerned, that we're there, the needle should face you with the long straight groove, just as you see it. The opposite side of the needle has a scarf. This is the needle wrench that comes with your unit. Here we go. The long straight groove faces you. The scarf, or the moon as it's called, goes to the rear. The needle must go all the way up. So all the way up.
Hold it in the up position and then tighten it.
Right. So I snug it. I don't jam tight it. So I make sure it's all the way up. Okay. Now here, go back to the nut. I loosen a little bit. Push her all the way up. Make sure she's all the way up. Because you have to remember the loopers are timed to the location of the needle. And if you don't have the needle all the way up, the machine's not going to sew properly, and that's it. Then you snug it good. From the front to the back, I am going to leave the thread out of the needle so I don't tangle it up as we go thread the other.
Okay, let's do the other next one.
All right, this is your upper right-hand looper. That's this one right here. And you merely make your thread here, here. Put the knot off the top. Come through the tunnel here, like we did the other one. go through the top, of the tension, and what I do is I wrap this around here a little bit, and I'll separate this here so I can get the thread in between the discs. There we go. There. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. This pin prevents the thread from slipping out. I'll show you this again.
Let me go to the other side so we can see it better.
I come here, come underneath the pin, and that's going to prevent it from slipping out. If I don't go underneath the pin, leave it on top, you're not getting the full pressure of the tension discs against the thread. Okay? And then you can guess you just come to the hole that's directly underneath it. Then to the tube, top tube, because this is the top tension. Then you take a look over here, you'll see there are two holes.
Let me get
You want
behind
to
you.
get to the other side. Two thread guide holes. You're doing the upper tube, you do the upper hole. And then we're going to go right to our looper, which is this up here. And the way she works here is she goes through here, and then from the front of the looper to the back. And now she's threaded.
Get that old thread out of there. We can move it.
That's it.
Okay, let's do the next one.
Just that simple. Okay? Through the tube, under the pin, around and between the discs, straight down to here, to the tunnel, upper top tunnel, top hole. There's only one hole for it to go to get to the upper right hand looper, and from the front to the back, and you leave 5-6 inch tail. Now we do the lower looper, which is over here. Here. I forgot to go over here. Not that it'll make a big deal, but better off there. In between the discs,
Under the pin.
under the pin. You actually, for this lower one, you don't even have to go under the pin because it can't slip out on the bottom. So if you want, just go here and then straight to this hole. This hole will prevent this from slipping out. It'll work either way though. Here, and we go through our lower tube. Then we go through the lower hole on the thread guide.
Hold on, let me get there. I can't see from here.
Through the lower hole on the thread guide. Then we're going to go all the way to the left side of the machine to thread the looper.
Okay, move your right hand real quick. Let me just show them how it looks.
See here? Went right through this thread guide here.
There we go. Okay, pass it over.
Come out to this side. I'll put some light on the situation. Get on over here. Open the gate a little bit more. I'll stick the tweezer in and pull that thread through. And this is the looper we want to go in. But before we go in that looper, we go in this guide over here. There we go. Come on, baby. Huh? Stubborn. There we go. Underneath this pin, and then right to the looper. The looper's got a hole right here. We're going to go through the back of that hole. Bring the looper all the way down to its lowest point on the left by turning the hand wheel clockwise. You don't want to try and thread it when the looper's all the way up there. Make it easier on yourself. All the way down. Through here. And you leave your tail. When we're done. That's how the machine is threaded. Now, of course, we'll put the machine in the needle. If your thread breaks, you're not going to have to rethread the whole machine. You'll rethread it from where it breaks, and normally the thread's going to break either near the needle or near the end of the upper right-hand looper or the lower left-hand looper. You're not going to have to rethread it.
You just tie it off and pull it through slowly.
You don't have to even tie it off if you're not going. The only time you're going to tie it and pull it is when you're changing spools of thread.
Right. Okay. Oiling.
Oiling.
Show them the quick points and.
Okay. You have red painted holes here where you can put a drop of oil, as it's shown, and then it gets to where it's going eventually. But I prefer just to go directly to the connections instead of wasting my time with the holes. And I'll just squirt it in there. Don't worry about over oiling. All the connections, moving connections, are soaked with oil. Any excess will come in the catch pan, and you wipe it with a paper towel or a rag or something. Better to over oil than to under oil, that's for sure. And
the rear puller.
And of course here you get.
Don't forget the rear puller too.
Yeah, we'll get there. And that's it. Now this oil cup is for oiling the upper main shaft. And the way it works is, this is adjusted already. You fill the oil cup here, or drip cup. You've got a sight window where you can see it dropping down. Close it. And if you come around to this side, you'll see the sight window. You lift this up and you can see it's starting to drip oil. I let it drop about 8-10 drops, which is good for the day. And I close it. If you make the mistake of leaving it open, all that oil is going to run down and come fill up the catch pan for no reason. 8-10 drops takes care of your upper main shaft for the day. Now we're going to go to the rear puller. And when you're oiling the rear puller, you just put them in the dots, I guess. There's a red hole, down here, and over here. And this rear puller is where you lift up and down once in a while, so you can just shoot some in there. Every once in a while, I drop on the universal. One there, one there. This arm over here, back of the machine there. I do not get any oil whatsoever near this rear puller clutch assembly. Keep the oil away from there. You can put a drop here. How often? Once a day. It's good for the whole day. Drop here. Not crazy, because I don't want to get oil on that clutch assembly. And you're done.
Okay.
And the machine should be oiled every day. I mean, without fail. Before you use the unit, whether you use it an hour, a half hour, 4 hours, 5 hours, it prevents wear.
Changing stitch length.
Okay, now we're going to go to changing the stitch length. Normally, we send units out of here based on the work the customer sends us, and we'll preset the stitch length for them based on the work they've given us. But should you change the type of work and you wish to have a shorter stitch, or perhaps a longer stitch, it's done from the back of the machine, which I will show you. It's also clearly shown in the instruction booklet. You want to come down here, I'll put a little light on it. You have to come from here to this nut. You loosen this nut, and if you push the lever down, you increase the stitch length. If you loosen the nut and push the lever up, you decrease it. Just that simple. Now, what we've done with this unit that's going to the customer is, for his work, is we match the stitch length to the speed of the rear puller. The stitch length is over here on your feeder that pulls your rope and netting. Lift this up so you can see a little better. Put the light down here so you're not blinded. This is the teeth, and you can see how they come and they pull it, right? Bottom teeth come and the top too, and together they pull. Now, if I shorten my stitch length, I want to make sure that I slow down my rear puller. You can't have one pulling faster than the other. You want to have them basically pulling uniform.
Synchronized, right?
Synchronized, that's the word.
If you don't, you'll get bunching. The rope will pucker. If the rope puckers, then you know you have to change your
You
speed.
get bunching if your rear puller isn't fast enough, right? If your rear puller is too fast, you'll be pulling faster than it's pushing, and you cause a problem. You bend the needle, start. And, that is how that is done. The wrench that changes the needle also fits the nut for your, what do you call it, your rear puller. Your stitch length speed. Okay.
Adjusting the rear puller speed real quick.
To adjust the rear puller speed, let's say we made this stitch longer, a little bit longer. Now we want to make sure that when we eyeball it, that this rear feed wheel starts to turn when the feed dog starts to push. The feed dog is starting to push and is starting to turn. It's perfectly
Timed.
Now, if you're a little off one way or another, it's not going to be a major problem, but they should be relatively close in synchronization. Now, let's pretend we made the stitch length longer than it is. Well, now we want to increase the speed a little. It's quite easy. All you do is come to the right side of the machine, and this wrench that loosens your needle bar nut also loosens the nut for the rear puller. You would loosen the nut. Okay. You would get a screwdriver, and the center screw, there's 3 screws here, the center screw, which is the largest screw, to increase the speed of the rear puller, you would turn the screw counterclockwise or loosen it. That will increase the speed of the rear puller. That's top and bottom rear puller, by the way. When you got what you like, then re-snug your needle bar nut. Now, it's very possible that when you come to look over here, you don't see that screw. Well, you turn the hand wheel till that screw becomes available to you. One other thing is, let's pretend you should break a needle and you put a new needle in, your machine's not sewing. It's very possible that your needle bar moved. Happens, because these needles are quite strong. So what you do is you check. Very simple. The whole machine is timed to the location of your needle, and the needle must be in the right location before you go and check your looper timing. So what you would do is you would remove your needle bar guard up here, get off, get a scale, and you would raise your needle bar to its highest point and stop. And you put your scale over here, and you put some light on it, and it should measure 2 3/4 inches from the top of the bar here. And that's exactly what it measures, 2 3/4. Here's your 1 inch, there's your 2 inch, and there's your 3/4 right there. Now, millimeters, let's see what the hell it is in millimeters.
We don't have that much time on the tape, so
Okay.
we've got a couple more minutes.
Looks like 70. 71 millimeters.
Okay.
You would take this off, go to the screw that holds the needle bar, and reset the height if it moved on.
What else do we want to show them? If they're changing thread from a thicker to a thinner thread, it's merely tension adjustments. Just show them real quick.
Like for example here, you can see how snug the thread wraps around the rope and holds the netting to the rope. If it's loose and sloppy, you'd go to you see which thread it goes to. The needle thread is right here. It actually closes this together, and these other two tensions, one is for this thread and the other is for the
Back thread.
back thread. And as long as it's balanced and not too tight, not too loose, you'll be fine. And if you have to tighten them, clockwise, loosen them counterclockwise. But normally when you go from one thread to another, you don't really have to mess with your tensions. They don't change.
Our units are very versatile. You can attach your netting to your rope. You can sew or join two nets together, and it just makes life easy on you as far as having minimal adjustments. And you can also take the edge of a netting and overlock it if you wish as well. Nothing to change. You merely just feed it in and the machine will do the rest.